Okay, time for some YouTube news here. So, the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, came out with a press release coming down hard on Warner Brothers. Well, it was a settlement, really. So, there was a game that came out a little while ago. Was it like a year and a half, 2 years ago? Middle Earth, Shadow of Mordor, which I believe got pretty good reviews.
Yeah, straightforward action game
for a Lord of the Rings game. So said that Warner Brothers failed to adequately disclose that it paid online influencers, which are basically YouTubers and people online, including this is in their press release from FTC, the federal government site, including the wildly popular PewDiePie. They paid him thousands of dollars to post positive gameplay videos on YouTube and social media. Over the course of the campaign, the sponsored videos were viewed more than 5.5 million times. So under the new announcement, Warner Brothers is barred from failing to make such disclosures in the future and cannot misrepresent that sponsored content, including gameplay videos. They basically what they're saying here is that it has to be crystal fucking clear going forward that any sponsored video says it's sponsored.
What I like about this is that they say that it putting it in the more information segment of a YouTube video is not good enough.
We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah.
Because if it's linked from YouTube or Facebook, people aren't going to see this.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll get there in a second. But they don't want it to think that people are just randomly potential consumers and YouTube viewers are randomly watching these videos saying, oh, these YouTubers are playing this game, again, all in the same fucking week or 2-week period, and they all like it. Okay, I'm going to buy it. Because that's skeezy as fuck.
Yes.
To do that. And so that's why the FTC came out with rules in the past year or so that really hardened about these. Before it was like, oh, there's no rules for YouTube, even though common sense told you there should be rules. Why should it be different than advertising on TV or radio? But they had to come down and say these are the rules. So basically, what's at stake here is that in this campaign, there were YouTubers that didn't disclose at all. Like, at all. PewDiePie disclosed.
But the other ones did not, was what I gathered from it.
PewDiePie actually disclosed that he was sponsored. Now, we'll get to PewDiePie's response in a bit. What this comes down to on YouTube is there's called the fold. Think of a piece of paper. In the comments, it's like 3 lines. You only get like 3 or 4 lines before you have to click show more to show the rest of the description of the video. So what is done, or what PewDiePie actually did, is that in the show more section, you click show more, it said this video was sponsored by Warner Brothers. So while technically for the time he got away with it and was fine with it, that wasn't enough for the FTC that they had to make rules for stuff like that, saying it has to be clear either in the video description, above the fold, above the show more, or you come out and just say it right away.
Well, I believe what they said, and that's what I was getting at, is above the fold doesn't count anymore, because if you link this video through Twitter, you don't see the fold.
Oh, maybe they
so
said
no,
that's for this.
It explicitly has to be in the video that this was sponsored. It cannot be in the fold. It cannot be in text. It has to be explicitly stated, because when you link these videos outside to like Twitter, so for instance, if someone retweets one of our podcast videos and I click on it, it just starts displaying in a window. There is no fold unless I follow that video into YouTube and then check the fold, above the fold or below the fold. You don't see any of that information. So if someone's simply watching this from Twitter or from Facebook, they're not going to see any of it.
The FTC also alleges that the Warner Brothers contracts with influencers subjected their videos to pre-approval, which I've seen before. That's pretty common. And then on at least one occasion, Warner Brothers reviewed and approved an influencer video that lacked adequate sponsorship disclosures. Like, okay, it's good to go. Sell us the game.
Ew.
So that's kind of gross too. So, yeah. So the order from the FTC specifies the minimum steps that Warner Brothers or any entity it hires to. This is more specific to coming down to Warner Brothers about the new rules. This is like, okay, you fucked up big time. We're going to be watching you now. Or any entity it hires to conduct an influencer campaign must take to ensure that future campaigns comply with the terms of the order. These steps including educating influencers regarding sponsorship disclosures, monitoring sponsored influencer videos for compliance, and under certain circumstances, terminating or withholding payment from influencers or ad agencies for non-compliance. So they're going to be watching Warner Brothers now with a magnifying glass, the FTC, which, well, they should.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like this was egregious. Especially if this was wide-reaching.
You have one person who did it hidden. They acknowledged it, and no one else acknowledged it. I mean, that's bullshit.
Let's talk about it. So PewDiePie has been targeted from this, rightly or wrongly, because he's the biggest guy on YouTuber. He was paid for. Well, he doesn't claim he does reviews. He does gameplay. It's the same effect on the consumer. You're advertising. Whether it doesn't fucking matter if it's just gameplay.
You're
footage.
Influencing whether or not someone's going to buy or not buy the game.
You're showing having fun. It counts. It's advertising. It's paid advertising, not disclosing. So he came out with a video basically saying Scan wasn't rubbing his nipples, so
good.
Wasn't rubbing his nipples. I give the Pewd credit for that. But he's basically saying that people are coming after him because he's the biggest YouTuber. It gets clicks. That's why Polygon wrote their article and targeted him, and other websites. And he's right in that aspect, where it's like, why aren't you going after the YouTubers that didn't even disclose it at all? I at least disclosed it. It might have been under the fold, but hey, back then there weren't explicit rules about it for YouTubers. It was a gray area. So he's right about that. So I have to give him credit there. I don't think he's wrong there.
Sure.
So my thoughts though about him though is that I'm not. I'm sure he's a good dude, but it seems like he gets very indignant about this stuff. I think more than he should.
Yeah. Whenever we cover something about him, which by the way I feel like is far too often, maybe we can just not cover him
once every 2-3 months. Is too much.
Just every other fucking story that involves
every season.
He comes across as insanely defensive about everything.
Yeah. I'm not so much upset about him for stuff like this versus the fact that he highlights, like, there's this PewDiePie hater who's like this 10-year-old kid, and he highlights him in his videos. And he says, I don't want you harassing this kid. I don't want you going after him. But that's going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
Because he has his legion of fans are fucking 10 years old and 13-year-old and 15-year-olds. So he has some weird fucking judgment when it comes to certain things. He just does. Not saying he's a bad guy. His judgment is kind of wacky.
Yeah.
That's all. So it is good that he defends himself in this, because I don't think what he did here was over the top bad. He did disclose.
A little sneaky, but I mean, like you said, he's right. There were other people who were far more appropriate targets.
Yeah, and he wants to splice hairs that I wasn't doing a review. I was just saying the game is fun. But again, it's fucking advertising. It doesn't matter how you did it. You showed off their game.
Well, and that's something that, like, I mean, Total Biscuit says too. Oh, I don't review. I just, play games. No, yeah, but the tone in your voice, whether you're having fun or not, when you make fun of something or praise something, you are still, at the end of the day, reviewing the game or putting the idea into someone's head, whether it's fun or not fun. And that's the same thing with PewDiePie.
If you are saying a game is even fun or not, that's a review. You don't think it down to the nuts and bolts of, well, the graphics was an 8.5 out of 10, and the gameplay was a 4.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a review. It can be, this is fun. This movie is good, or this movie is fun. That's a fucking review. It's a caveman eloquence of a review, but it's a review nonetheless.
Pat's shirt, good. That's a review of Pat's shirt.
Mr. Gimmick, cute. That's a review of how cute Mr. Gimmick is. I don't fucking know where I'm going with this fucking topic.
It's done.
Is it done?
It's done.
So it's just in the future. I mean, as again, Warner Brothers, mainstream entertainment in general, using YouTubers, the new frontier, people rubbing their nipples, gambling sites. We've graduated. FTC coming down on YouTube. This is mainstream entertainment. This isn't a fun site anymore. People try to say it's a hobby site. It hasn't been a hobby site for
This hasn't been a hobbyist
for
site
9 fucking years. It has been a hobby site. As soon as they were sold to Google in about a year after its existence, it stopped being a hobby site because it was all about the money. It was always investors. So stop being fucking silly. It's mainstream entertainment.
It's alternate TV.
It's now the kids growing up without TV. This is their TV.
Yeah, it's not even alternate TV. This is TV.
This is their TV.
That's sad that we're their TV. Anyways,